This is Eric Sanders. I'm 2019 Program Chair of the Management Consulting Division of the Academy of Management, and am here talking with Tony Buono, who is past chair of the division and also edits the Research and Management Consulting series for Information Age Publishing. He's read and reviewed hundreds, maybe even thousands of articles over the years, so a really good reviewer. And our question for Tony is, what are some of the key features that you look for in a practitioner-oriented scholar practitioner article? Tony?
All right, thanks, Eric. You know, as I was thinking about this, one of the things that also occurred to me is that this is not only about how you should try to review one of these papers, but if you're thinking about putting together a practice-based paper, I think there might be some good insights into what you want to cover. The key here, and I think, again, learning from practice, we like to think of ourselves in academia as informing practice, but I think we have as much to learn from practice as hopefully practice has to learn from us. So what we really want to do is to look into insights into the pragmatic actions and activities and local experience at what seems to work in different areas. We also then want to think about how generalizable that is. Now, one of the things I look for in a practice-based paper, and I guess this reflects the reality that not all practice is all that interesting to us. And so is there something sufficiently compelling about this situation that's going to draw the reader's attention? In other words, why should I really be concerned about what's happening in this particular organization or this particular industry? And is there something that I can take away that gets me to think about how I can improve my own interventions or the organizations or groups or individuals with which I work? Now, reviewing the paper, we're all trained academics. Most of this coming from the Academy of Management. So we know how to think about the more traditional research papers. So there's, the introduction, our literature review, our hypotheses, if it's a quantitative paper, or the things we're focusing on, if the paper is more qualitative. Then we discuss our methods, results, and then wrap up conclusions. So we all are pretty comfortable with that kind of paper. But I think practice-based papers take a little bit different format. And so rather than the traditional approach to kind of the well-defined papers that come traditionally out of the academic sphere, we're really talking about structured narratives, story. In other words, what is going to capture my attention? What is interesting about this? What provocative questions can I raise that really draw the reader in? And from there, we still have to have a data narrative. In other words, where is the information coming from? Is it solely my observation? Have I collected information from certain individuals? Is this more than simply a single perspective? Where is that coming from? And then lend that into the story and the observations and then the outcomes. What does this mean? A lot of times practice-based papers are much more iterative in nature, bringing together both inductive and interpretive reasoning. Now, I think one of the biggest shortfalls of many practice-based papers, I'm going to draw an analogy to what a lot of us did probably back in elementary school, and that's show and tell. And I think one of the real challenges is, have we developed a convincing trail of evidence in our papers? And I think a lot of times there's a misalignment between too much telling, not enough showing, or the reverse. So for example, sometimes we can very briefly talk about data, but there are vague descriptions of what actually took place, what we actually did, how that links up. In other words, we then say, and this is the outcome, these are the learnings. Well, to me, that's too much telling and not enough showing as to how we got there. At the same time, it's very easy to get wrapped up into the richness of these different experiences that we have. And so we get so bogged down in the data, trying to explain everything to the most minute detail, that we lose sight of what does this all mean? What learning should we take place? So in that instance, it's too much showing and not too much showing of the data, not enough telling in terms of where we need to go. So I think, again, what I look for in a good practice-based paper is a compelling argument, a compelling point that's going to draw me in, that wants me to read the paper, makes me feel that I can take away something, that I can begin generalizing to other situations, within limitations, but that will inform me about how I can improve my own practice, my own intervention and organization. We look for that, again, convincing story narrative linked up with data and interpretation, and to make sure there's a clear trail of evidence. And so we balance the idea of showing the data that we have and then telling our reader what we've taken away, what we hope they will learn from the paper.
Cool. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate your insight, and hopefully that'll help our reviewers and the authors as they work on their papers. Thanks, Tony.
My pleasure, Eric. You take care.
You too.